and gentlemen, welcome to Fulton Street Beats. This is the Chibson SG Angus Young signature model that I ordered from eBay. Turned out to be an outstanding playing guitar. It's got a really nice finish on it. It's got really nice cuts in the horns. I have taken some liberties already, just so you know. I have changed the switch poker chip to white, as well as the switch knob, and I have put some witch hat knobs on it as par for course for a Gibson SG that would be kind of in the era that this is supposed to resemble. I want to put a different bridge on this. I'm just not a fan of this bridge. I think it's kind of might be the tuning. It's not a real tuning stability issue, but it's not as good as it could be, because let's face it, they're not known for their bridges. Now, I did intonate this already. It does sound really, really good. I tried to put a video up on this guitar doing a backing track with some AC/DC and just the drums and me playing the guitar. And YouTube would not let it go. So, I mean, it sounds really close to the real deal with the right amp settings. And yeah, it was banned in all parts of the world for copyright issues. So we will work on that and see what we can do with that. Maybe we can switch it up enough to get you guys a little bit of tone to show you in another episode. I'll be working on that shortly if I haven't done it already by the time this video airs. Wilkinson M series bridge. You guys know that I love Wilkinson M series. They use them on the Leo James. I used them on a lot of builds that I've done, and they have a Floyd Rose style M series bridge that's phenomenal. And so I took a chance. I've never used one of these style bridges before. And we're going to give this a shot to see if it's good. I've heard good things, but let's do that. And we also have some different posts and pins that we're going to change. Now, I know I'm rambling, but these slots on a Gibson guitar on an SG that this model's kind of loosely emulating would actually be here on an Angus Young guitar. They actually wouldn't have the closed off ends on the bridge pins, but the bridge intonation screws would actually be pointing down on an Angus Young model, and it would have nylon saddles. I did not get a nylon saddle bridge. I looked at the price and said no way. So let's see what Wilkinson is offering. I'll leave a link to this in the description. I forget the price, but it does come with its own posts. We might not have to use the other ones. And there is the bridge. And is there anything else in there? No, a big box for a few parts. But let's check out this bridge. Now, if you're going to do this yourself, make sure you know how to intonate a guitar afterwards, because they're never right, and intonation makes a huge difference. I'll tell you what, this is a nice heavy bridge, though. This is the Wilkinson bridge right here. We have black screws on the bottom. We will mount it in this direction because I do want it to be, well, kind of proper to what it should be. So it will be mounted here. And let's check out these posts real quick. Wilkinson and Music Lily are one and the same company. If you guys are wondering if you ever see any Music Lily stuff come with Wilkinson's name on it, that is why. Let's loosen these strings up. Let's cut these off. And we'll just string her up with some new 9-42s. There we are. And we're going to pull these out. Let's take our bridge right off here. Pull these out. While we're here too, we'll check, make sure the nut is tight. It is. And make sure all of our tuner nuts are tight. I think this is the first guitar I've ever had where the nuts were tight. Okay, cool. So a lot of people want to see inside of this guitar. Here's the bridge. It's not labeled anything under the bridge, unlike the Les Paul. It's heavy, very heavy though. Unlike the Les Paul that's over here, the Ace Frehley one, it actually had an Epiphone tailpiece on it. Now let's check the bridge. Nothing on it. This is heavy too though, nice heavy. So the quality might be better than I initially thought. And here is our pins right here. So what I want to do before we go any further, I'm not sure how they did these, whether these are recessed into the pickguard. So let's pull this out because we want to see inside under here too. Everybody wants to see inside of it. So let's do that. That I've ordered for different things, and hopefully this is there we go. You see that, guys? Now we can actually, that goes nice and deep. Look at that, look how deep that goes. Okay, but I'm not gonna go all the way down. But now we can get on that and give her a little wiggle and hopefully get it out of there. I don't want to put any pressure on the neck, just so we know. Saw a YouTuber the other day pounding in the grommets with the neck in a brace, and man, I was cringing the whole time. Not a good idea. So let's see if we can get this out. Yeah, that's good. There we go. Very nicely come out. It pays to have the right tools and the right setup, and they're drilled quite nicely, actually. So I don't want to mistake these for other parts, so I'm going to set these to the side here. But now we get to look inside to see if the construction inside, and usually we got compound and everything else inside of these guitars, but the fret job on this is outstanding, by the way. Does need a little polish on the frets, but nonetheless a very outstanding fret job. One of the better ones, which is great. Saved me a lot of work. There we go. Perfect. No, that didn't come out as easy as it looked, guys. I put quite a bit of pressure on that. There is that. Now we will pick this pickguard up, hopefully. And guess what, guys? We do not have a swimming pool cutout. We don't have a swimming pool cutout under there. I don't have a lot of wires to work with, but this is done really, really, let's see if you get in there, very well. Look at that. So it is done properly. I am loving seeing that. And the pickups, are they labeled? I'm not going to pull these out because they work fine. They seem to be, they're heavy pickups. Whatever's in there is very heavy. And we got a marking on it, on one anyhow, if I can get the light in there. I was hoping I could get more. We have one pickup up top that is labeled Epiphone. And then one on the bottom that I can't quite make out that says, it looks like R10L4, whatever that means. So we have a Epiphone pickup, if it's legit, on the neck, and a no name, I think it's a no name, on the bridge. So very, very cool. I'm excited about that. Now, another thing that they did on these guitars, other than the extra screws, they should be a pickup ring on this pickup. And I'm going to throw some pictures up as I do this. On just this pickup. This one didn't have it. This one did. I don't have an extra ring right now, or it would get it. However, I'm going to put a couple of these back in to hold it in place for now. And then we're going to find out exactly where they need to be tapped and drilled for a couple screws to make it look a little more like an original. Because if we're going to have a copy, we want it pretty close, right? So there we have it. So that's pretty good. I'm pretty impressed so far. Excellent routing under there too, by the way. It's hard for me to show you guys that. Pickguard's cut nice. A lot of people complain that the pickguard on this is ugly. Let me tell you the differences. So on an actual Gibson pickguard, it would have, of course, I think it has 11 holes if I remember correctly. And then this pickguard itself, this switch right here is in the right location. So if you're saying it's not close enough, it's not touching that, that's because on the original would have came down farther, a little more of a point into this area here and almost touches that poker chip. Also here would have dipped down a bit more, and that would have been there. Now, if I had a ring, we'd be putting that on right now, but we don't. These I ordered. This is from the Faber USA Corsa. These are a bridge. These are bridge conversion posts, and I ordered these. As you can see, these ones are small, so these would never work on there. So, but these are the right ones, and I had a feeling that was going to be the case. So these are a solid post. Okay. They don't have any slots in it. Remember I said it should have slots, but we're not going to roll with that one. So there we go. There, and that fits perfectly. We're going to put these in like so. We're just going to sit them in like so. Okay, so that is here, and they give us this nice little tool. There it is, right here. And I'm going to show you guys something. Don't hammer with your neck in the brace. We're going to hang the guitar neck off of the bench. I'm going to take a little brass hammer. We've got this little special tool right here. Make sure that it's pretty straight. We're going to tap her down. and that's almost flush. And the brass hammer ensures that you're not going to split anything or break anything. See that? Now, with any luck, this is going to be proper and sit right on there. You can see now where we're supposed to be. So very cool. A lot better fit, which works great. Okay, I'm going to wipe this off a little bit. Okay. Now that we got that done, we're going to take our wheels. So these are the ones that came with the Wilkinson bridge right here. And I can actually check a reference picture real quick to make sure. Let's see what size is the closest, because we want to be close. Let me check a reference picture over here, just fast if I could. And the size is about the same size as the plug below. So this is going to work fine. Okay. Spin that and do our adjustments as we need to go. And I already know what the action will be on this. We're going to set it at 1 millimeter, and then we'll worry about our intonation. As you can see now, this is facing down. If I could find some nylon saddles, we would definitely put those in there. So let's put all our screws back in the pickguard here. Okay, so what we need to do is find a reference picture for this, and I'm going to actually drill out another hole and put another screw in, maybe in a couple places. So let's see what we can do there. Okay, we're back. So what I have done is I went over, I checked my reference pictures, and I'll try to show some online for you guys. And what I actually did was take a little magic marker, you can't really see it, but take a little magic marker and just put a dot where the screws would be, or kind of be, because they're a little off on this pickguard, but kind of be, to give it that a little bit of a better look where it's going to have 11 holes like the original. So what we're going to do now is actually countersink a little bit and try to find the best way of doing this, which you look at my, so we need to make the hole first. We need to make the hole for the pickguard, and we need to go a little bit bigger. We want to bevel it a little bit. So this is the hole that we're going to drill with this bit. Then we're going to do a little countersink on top with another bit to make the hole wide enough. So let's get this in, and this is, if you're not good with using a drill, I don't suggest you do this. But same thing, we want to lay the guitar flat. We want the neck, no pressure on nothing, just where we're doing this. Now I'm going to take this hole and make sure we're kind of in the right position. And I'm going to drill this right into the guitar, kind of like so. Slowly is the key. Slowly and straight. Okay, I'm going to take it out. You see we're into the wood, so we're just starting our holes right now, getting them kind of in alignment. We're going to do the same thing right here. Now, I looked at the photos, and the hole for this one would be in between the, if you're going this way, it would be right in between these saddles right here. So we're just going to put it, this is for aesthetic purposes. Let me make sure it's correct here. This is for aesthetics. They don't need to be there, but we're doing it. Now, only thing I'm doing underneath right now, and I'm going slow because this is going to crack the finish underneath. And that's all I want to do, because we'll let the screws tighten themselves. This is obviously a mahogany body, so we won't have any worries there. Then we're going to follow this contour up and over and drill a hole right here. Now, if I was changing this pickguard, I wouldn't do this, but I am not. So there we go. Now we're going to open these up a little bit more so we can countersink the screws that are going to go in there. One more. And gently. You see my hands are right on the bit here because we're going very gentle. Okay, so that is done. Now we can swap our bits again, and I'm going to kind of making a mess over here. I apologize. Now we can find some screws, blow this off, and we can find some screws that match. I'm sure, hopefully I have some in here. There we are. Very nice. That is perfect. So this one's just a touch, and it's going to show just a touch too shallow in the bevel. And that should just about do it right there. So now why the screws aren't totally aesthetically perfect. It does have 11 holes, and at first glance will look great. And there we are. Look at that. I think that is fantastic. And now somebody can say, hey, that's got 11 holes in it. Okay. Pickup height was already adjusted too, which is pretty cool. Okay, so what do you guys think? Now we're going to get this back in here. We're going to go over to our fretboard, which needs a little bit of polishing. So let's do that, and don't take sandpaper to it, whatever you do, for the love of Pete. What we do want to do is just take off whatever little bit of debris on the frets. The frets are done remarkably well, so I don't need to do anything leveling. I got lucky there. So we don't need to do any leveling or anything like that. However, we do need to take a little grime off of the frets, and I am not going to tape off this fretboard. There's no need for it. Some guitars need it, especially if they got a clear coat over the fretboard themselves. But most guitars don't. A lot of people use it, and it's overkill. So this is my prep. If you feel safer doing it, go right ahead. I just don't. So I'm going to put a little polish on here, a little rouge. And we're going to keep it at low speed, just enough to take the grime off the top of the frets. A couple passes will take it right off. I'm going to show you guys my favorite trick. Those of you who watch this channel know what my favorite trick is. Move this. Not a terrible high speed, guys. Don't you overspeed it. You don't want to burn anything. It's a nice, comfortable, workable speed. Yeah, these frets were definitely leveled. I can see the leveling marks. The ends are very nice. So there's that. Now we're just going to take our rag that we've been using and wipe these off real quick. Give them a once over, and then we'll condition this fretboard up real quick. Okay, there was something else I was going to do, and I just might do it while we're here, but let's get this fretboard conditioned up first. You guys can use the good old lemon oil if you like. It does not condition that long. That's why I really don't use it, only for touch-ups. When I get a guitar and I set it up, this is what I always use. A toothbrush and some organic coconut oil. Make sure it's organic so it does not go rancid on you and make your guitar smell like ass. So what this is going to do now, no, it won't loosen your frets, don't worry. This will condition the fretboard and clean off all of that black grime that is on your fretboard. And it is virtually pH neutral. So it's a trick that I learned years ago when my dad was making furniture. He was in the furniture making business. And this is what they used to use on antique furniture. Some people still use it today. But you can see the black and the grit getting pulled right out of the grain of this fretboard. And all it takes is a couple passes. And this will even polish up the frets even more, by the way. Makes it an excellent cleaner for wood. Get up close to your frets, because that's where the grime really sticks. And this will play like a million. I've already played really well, but now it's gonna play like $1,000,000, I guarantee it. This guitar came extremely well set up. Okay, and you don't have to let it sit. You can just come back through now and wipe it right off. Just get it good, because if you don't get it off good and the temperature changes, you could get a little, hardened coconut oil on there, but you see the difference in that fretboard. I'm sure you guys can really see how good that stuff works. It's a trick that I've used on almost every guitar, and it's a trick that most people haven't even heard of, which kind of blows my mind. And it blows the lemon oil out of the water. Literally blows it out of the water. Take your fingernail and get up next to your frets to make sure you got it all out, and that'll pull off any residue that's up next to the frets also. And these frets feel really good now. Okay, and there we are. So we did have that one spot up on the nut here that was just a little too tight. So I'm going to take care of that real quick with a small file. I'm just going to open it up at the top a touch. It doesn't hurt just to give them all it'll taper them so they slide in easier and don't bind. That's all. Just a touch. And now when we put our new strings on, we won't have anything catching and popping. But the nut's cut deep, but it's deep enough where it needs to be that deep. So there's that. Okay, so good. We got a fretboard. We have very smooth frets, a nice feeling fretboard. Another thing that is a giveaway on these guitars is the lightning bolts should be inlaid in two pieces. They'd have one piece on one side, one piece on the other. Now, what I have done in the past on these style guitars is actually taken a razor blade and scored to give it that look right across. And I guess we could do that. I don't see why we can't do that. If you have a steady hand, you can do it with your hand. And what we do is we just kind of line it up right across where it needs to be. The high frets are the hardest ones, so we get an angle right on top and we kind of bring it over slowly. And what I did is made a mark so it looks like it is a two-piece inlay. Now just a touch. We don't want to overdo it. Of course, it's not a two-piece inlay, but it gives it that look when somebody looks at it that the inlays are in two pieces. And steady hand, and that's all it takes. It can be done very quickly. You could do it deeper if you like. I'm just going to do one. And believe it or not, the funny thing is, and this is going to sound really kind of strange. I hope you guys can see. Well, I'll show you this when I'm done. I'll put it in the camera. But if you do this, and you play as your oils and whatever have you get in your hands, and you play this, it'll actually fill in the cracks a little bit, just the debris, not in a dirty way. It's kind of funny, but it'll fill in the cracks. I want to do that one more time. Fill in the cracks to where it looks like two inlays, and you've done nothing but play the guitar. So it's pretty cool, pretty cool effect. Yeah, this just appears like it's two separate inlays now. And that right there is guitar hot rodding at its best. Just make sure you got a steady hand, not a lot of pressure. It doesn't take a lot to cut into this stuff. So just steady and smooth. Get right over it. Boom. One more to go. Probably the hardest one because I'm at the wrong angle and I'm going to go the other direction. Boom. Okay, so let me get you in there, if I can, and show you this, if I can, because I've got a lot of wires here. And I hope you guys can see this. And you see how they look like they're just a two-piece inlay, all nice and equal, all the way down through. Looks much better in person. And that's it. So it looks like the inlay is now in two pieces, like, well, an original. Okay, so this has been a long time, of course, and we're going to give you pictures of this afterwards, but this is really, the inlay trick is so super cool, guys. I'm really impressed with the look of the inlay, and I've done this before. Sometimes I'm still scared to do it, you know. As you get older, you worry you don't have steady hands, but obviously it's dead on. So very cool. You guys want to know all the ins and outs of these, though, right? What to look for, what to expect. Well, you know they're going to be filthy inside the truss rod cover. Now, I've not seen one yet that wasn't loaded with compound, and I'm sure this is going to be no exception. And you know how we just used, and we all know how we just used the coconut oil, right? So what we are going to do is pull this off. Now I do these by hand. I'm not going to gently pull these off here. Back this screw out. By the way, this truss rod cover's dead nuts on. Very, very gas. See inside there? That's where all the compound goes, right in there. So, move this to the side so they don't get all messed up. So you see all this right here. So we don't have extra holes drilled. They have the right amount of space here. Everything's looking good, but we take our coconut oil once again here. Let me get in here. We can clean. This will clean out quickly and lubricate your truss rod. If this quickly, you guys are wondering, how do I always get that compound out of there? This is how, right here, guys. This is the secret. Coconut oil is the secret to everything. You start using this stuff, you'll be like, why wasn't I using that on everything before? And you can see that took that out. And it conditions wood. So if you get any in your holes down here, all it's going to do is prevent your wood from cracking or chipping. So there's a little more in there I want to get out. Over the side over here. That simple, that fast. Now, you'd spend all day in there with a screwdriver trying to chip it out. You'd end up damaging things. And no, they're not the prettiest route outs in the world on these guitars and the headstocks. Well, they are getting better. I'm trying to absorb that. There we go. Cleaned up as good as we're going to do today. Good enough where we can put our truss rod cover back on. I don't have to adjust the action on this. It came set up remarkably well. Now we can put back on our truss rod cover. And we know the grime's out of there. Do that also. Okay. So there we go. Looking pretty good, right guys? Now we're going to do the same thing on the back cavity. We're going to add that an extra screw or two, how many there is on the back also, because, well, they have more than that. But you guys don't need to see it. You got the gist of that, right? So you know what's going on there. We are good to go here. Let's clean off our pickup. Make sure we don't have any residual crap on the pickups or on the pickguard before we put our strings on and set our action. Take our low E. I'll take our bridge, find our bridge. And we'll string that in here. A lot of people string these bridges up first. Let's string these up. Let me cut camera. You guys don't need to see this. And then we'll come back, string this up real quick because this will get boring. Then we'll come back and we'll set the action so you know your action's right real quick, just using 2 strings. Okay, so we've got a little tension on the strings. We come in at the 12th, basically. We put our gauge on here, and I set this at about 1 millimeter, like so. And of course my eyeballs are a little off right now, so so we're at 1 millimeter high, 1 millimeter on the low side. These are my preferences, by the way, and that's our starting point. Then we string it up, and you just adjust your wheels till you get to where you want. I've already adjusted them a little bit here. So once we get it all strung up, it's going to change tension on the neck. You may have to fine tune it in with the wheels, and you're done. Okay, here we are strung all up, and now we're going to come back that we have our strings on, and I did put it in tune. So we're in tune right now anyhow, and then we're going to come into the side, and I'm going to check my action on this one at the 12th, and we're at 1 millimeter still, and 1 millimeter on the high side. So we're right where we need to be. Now we're just going to check for buzz. I know we're not going to have any because we didn't before. we're good to go. So we're good to go, rock and roll. We are definitely going to have to stretch the strings a bit. And I don't recommend tuning like I'm tuning right now with it not sitting on your lap, but they're going to have to be stretched anyhow. So now I'm just getting in tune a little bit, but there you have it. So pretty cool. I think this guitar turned out amazing. I absolutely love this guitar, and I think the extra screws in the pickguard look fantastic. I think it really just made it, you know, just a touch better. I think every little thing you do to these guitars to make them look more like the original just gives it a better aura, in my opinion. Opinions may vary. I'm definitely digging the inlays, how they look like they're separated. And we'll have pictures of this at the end. And now I'm going to tackle something else. You guys probably not going to be along for this ride, but I'm going to turn this guitar over and we're going to do the same thing to the back. Now, do you guys want to know what's in this? They're going to be small CF pots, but how is the routing? Why don't I show you that? Why we're right here. And I know they're going to be small CF pots. Not a big deal because the guitar sounds amazing. I don't change it if it ain't broken and it sounds good. This does sound like an SG should sound. So I don't imagine it can be too bad in here, but you never know. So let's get this a little help to get it out here because it's quite tight. Come on, there, yeah, nice tight fit. So not too bad. Not a lot of grime inside. Very little actually. Small CF pots, but everything's green chiclets. It's wired decently. Solder joints are good, and I'm gonna leave a picture for you guys if I remember right here of a Gibson wiring, and I want you to look at the soldering in a factory Gibson. It's going to blow your mind how horrible it is. So these pots, easy to change if you want to change them. I don't see no need to. I'm not getting any crazy feedback, and they seem to be doing their job and bleeding off and on the way they're supposed to. So they are labeled CF, and real easy guitar to work on if you need to. But while we're in here, let's do our trick one more time, and let's just get rid of this compound on here, because that drives me crazy. You see how quickly that compound is gone when we do that? That's all that takes, and that compound is out of there. We can get, we'll be doing a demo of this and playing. I got to figure out what AC/DC song we can do without getting a copyright strike, because every single time I try, if you come too close, then it bans it or blocks it completely, and it's a lot of work to put in a video. Maybe we'll try the beginning of a song with no other instruments in it, such as Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution or Back in Black or something like that, and maybe a taste of a few different things. Serial number up here, guys. This serial number comes back to I believe a 2006 Gibson SG. And, of course, we all know it is not that, but that's what it comes back to. And this guitar is emulating from a 2006 to a 2010 SG. Now, if this was a 2006 SG, I believe it would not have the lightning bolt inlays, and it would have a vibrola on it, but I'm not sure. And it had the little Angus Young logo. I'll put a picture here. We may put a logo like that on this headstock just for shits and giggles. But but what about you? We all look at these and goes, oh, everybody can tell these are fakes when they look, because of how bright and vibrant these numbers are. Usually they're a little more subdued and stained. So what we do is we take a little wood finish marker. That's right, a wood finish marker, and we're just going to go over this really quick. Get that right in there, nice and deep. Fill it right up. I'm getting the Made in the USA. Nice and wet and in there. It's like that. There we go. And it's going to give, we're going to wipe the excess off here in a second. Excess, not access, as a word that I always use incorrectly. We're going to wipe off the excess. We're not accessing it. Anyhow, we'll let that sit for a second. We come back with a rag, and I'm just going to use this rag because, well, it's right here. And we come back, and we just give it a wipe. And we fill it in a little bit at a time. We'll do the same thing over. So we let that sit, fill it up, let it sit and dry. We'll wipe it off in a little bit. Let it do its job and soak in. Tuners on this guitar, they work good. They're definitely not the correct style. If I do change tuners on this, I'm probably going to put some lockers on it. I don't know, maybe not. I would have loved to put the vintage style clusins on it, but it's already drilled for this style. And even though, well, they did make a Gibson, they were labeled Gibson in this style. If I could come across those or even knock off one of those, I'd go with those. But we'll have to see how that goes. When we come back, we can wipe out all this crap. But remember, guys, it's rock and roll that makes the world go round. I'm going to throw up some pictures at the end of this here for your viewing pleasure, where you can actually check out this guitar. I know you all want to hear it so bad. Please bear with me. I have played it. It sounds outstanding. I can't put it in this video because the video is already way over length of what it should be. And I don't want to bore you guys too much, but I thought you'd want to see exactly what I do to guitars to get them as top-notch as I can. We'll go back in here and clean all this out, but top-notch as I can and ready to rock and roll. And this is definitely a rock and roll guitar, right? Come on, man. Angus Young edition. All right, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye. Peace.